To preface the World Series, a Reader's Digest version of the American and National League Championship Series.
Lineups for today's game, Toronto-Oakland programs.
Got the League Series program right here for tonight's ball game. Get the program.
It's the 1992 American League Championship Series.
Game 1 of the 1992 National League Championship Series.
First ever grand slam. And a drive hit to right field. Sierra going back, looking up, and this game is tied. Roberto Alomar.
And now the Braves season hangs in the balance as Francisco Cabrera comes to the plate to bat for the pitcher. He appeared in only 12 games this year for the Braves. He hacked at the 2-0, now the 2-1. Line drive and a base hit. Just as the score of a tying run, Green to the plate, and he is safe! Safe at the plate! The Braves go to the World Series!
The 1992 World Series, featuring the Toronto Blue Jays and the Atlanta Braves.
World Series Game 1 program right here.
105 is straight ahead. You make sure y'all have a good time.
The playoff pressure was over. Now it was time to enjoy the biggest show in baseball.
That's it!
Pump it up, Jack!
The hands are flying. There you go. One more.
It was one more time for Bobby Cox and the Atlanta Braves in the Fall Classic for the second straight year. For Cito Gaston and the Blue Jays, well, they represented the first Canadian team ever to play in a World Series. It was time to wonder who would capture the focus of this showdown. Would it be Dave Winfield, at 41, the elder statesman of this World Series? Or maybe Mark Lemke, whose bag of tricks had so much to offer back in 1991. But first, something never before heard at a World Series game.
Honor Canada.
Oh, Canada, our home and native land.
And the familiar.
For the land of the free and the home of
Formalities aside, it was time to play ball, with the first ball delivered by Georgia native President Jimmy Carter. Starting for the Blue Jays, Jack Morris. Ironically, the last man the Braves had faced in a World Series in Game 7 against Minnesota. His opponent, a man who in Game 6 of the playoffs surrendered 8 runs to the Pirates in 1 inning of work. And Tom Glavine was the subject of speculation.
It just amazes me that you can go through the whole season and have the kind of year that I had, go out there and win 20 games, and because I have one bad game in the playoffs, you know, everybody wants to know what's wrong with me and are questioning the fact of whether I should even be out there pitching. It was definitely in my mind to go out there and prove people wrong.
And he did precisely that early on, pitching scoreless 2-hit ball over the first 3 innings. But in the top of the 4th, the Blue Jays sent most valuable player candidate Joe Carter to the plate. sporting some impressive credentials.
This guy's got 34 home runs. You talk about a premier run producer, Joe Carter, 772 RBIs over the last 7 years.
And that's a deep drive to left field. Gant watching that one go. The first run of the World Series comes on a home run off the bat of Joe Carter.
The World Series ice was broken, and Toronto had done it in enemy territory. Better yet, as the game moved into the 6th, the Blue Jays had the knowledge that Morris had now pitched 18 consecutive scoreless innings in World Series play. But fame and scoreless inning streaks are fleeting, as Morris discovered after walking Dave Justice with 1 out, then allowing a base hit by Sid Breen. A fielder's choice by Ron Gant erased Breen, and after Gant stole second, the Braves had 2 men in scoring position, with 2 out. The onus was on Damon Berryhill, the Braves catcher, only because Greg Olson had broken his ankle during the regular season. And Damon knew just what to look for.
I think he felt confident that he could throw me a forkball, good forkball. He'd been doing it previous to everybody during the game, keeping the ball down and getting a lot of strikeouts with the forkball. So really, I just try to be patient and make the pitch be up in the zone.
Tried to run. On the way to the wall, Winfield, forget about it. A 3-run homer for Damon Berryhill, and the Braves take a 3-1 lead.
The heroics belonged to Berryhill in the 6th and to battery mate Glavine in the 9th, who silenced his postseason skeptics with a 4-hit masterpiece.
That should end it. Justice in right makes the catch. A brilliant performance by Tom Glavine in Game 1 of the World Series.
What a job by the battery of the Atlanta Braves. Damon Berryhill supplying the power, and Tommy Glavine supplying the pitching.
And he will not pick up the paper in Atlanta tomorrow and read again about his failure to come through for the Braves in the postseason.
I don't recall hitting 4th and only coming to bat 3 times in a game when a guy faces, I think, 30 total batters in a game. And, you know, that's pretty doggone good pitching.
Game 1's hero was a bench player for most of the year. But in Toronto, guys like this don't ride the benches. They work the trenches.
It's the trenches. We fight for our teammates. Work hard, give 100%, cheer for them just like cheerleaders, day in and day out. That's we're in the trenches.
As Game 2 commenced, the trenches gave way to the hired gun, David Cone, for whom the Blue Jays traded late in the year in hopes that he would get to pitch a game as big as this. On the other side, John Smoltz, winner of 2 games in the championship series and hoping to win a couple more in the World Series.
Smoltz is ready, and the crowd is ready as well. And the first batter of Game 2 is Devon White. Struck him out with the breaking ball. And the breaking ball freezes Oru. 5 in a row retired by Smoltz to start the ball game. 4 of them via the strikeout. Trying to strike out the side. He does with the breaking ball again.
The National League strikeout leader was off to quite a start. But in Cone, the Blue Jays had a strikeout artist of their own. The difference was the Braves had faced Cone many times when he was with the Mets. So in the second, when he walked David Justice, they drew from their past and took advantage of his weakness, holding runners on.
The runner takes off, the pitch is strike, the throw goes into center field. Justice will remain at second.
Not only were they running on Cone, he wasn't getting much support either.
Slapped to short, Lee will try third and hits the runner. Justice safe at third. Blauser aboard at first.
Bad play.
With one out, runners were now on first and third, as Cone's woes continued.
The runner takes off from first, the pitch gets by Borders. Justice coming to the plate. And he is safe, and all the way to third goes Jeff Blauser. 1-0 Atlanta.
Then in the top of the fourth, the first controversial play of the series, with Robbie Alomar on third and 2 men out.
Here is the pitch in the dirt. Here comes Alomar. Berryhill to Smoltz, and he is out at the plate.
Well, he'd been getting a pretty big lead on the previous pitch, and I was really reluctant to throw anything in the dirt that might bounce away because I knew he was eager to go. And when I threw it in the dirt and it bounded only 5-10 feet away, I hustled to the plate, not really thinking he was going, but surprised at the same time, and just tried to block as much of the play as I could. I think I did.
Berryhill allows it to trickle away from him. He gets it back to Smoltz, and we'll see if he's safe.
Yes,
he was safe easily, not even close.
With 2 out in the top of the fifth and the Braves leading 2-0, Smoltz walked Pat Borders, and the bottom of the order came on with a flourish.
Manuel Lee delivers the second hit of the night for Toronto, and now they have the tying run aboard, and the go-ahead run coming to the plate in the person of the pitcher, David Cone.
He is one of the 2 hits. And he is a guy who can swing the bat.
For some reason, American League coaches are afraid to let their pitchers anywhere near the batting cage. Once we got into the playoffs, I kept working on them and tried to talk them into letting us take some BP, and we finally did in Atlanta. I still felt a little uneasy about facing John Smoltz. I just happened to work the count in my favor and get a fastball, and the ball hit my bat.
Cone lines it into center field to hit. Borders is being waved in. Nixon's throw is cut off. It's 2-1 Atlanta. David Cone, the first American League pitcher with 2 hits in a World Series game since Mickey Lolich in Game 2 in 1968.
Toronto went on to tie the score at 2 apiece. But in the bottom of the fifth, after Otis Nixon had struck out, David Cone's #1 nemesis led the Braves' resurgence. Neon Deion Sanders.
Come on, Neon! Let's go, Neon!
A base hit for Sanders. He's now 7 for 12 lifetime against David Cone. In running, the pitch a ball, the throw, one hopper, gets away from Lee. Sanders heads to third.
With Sanders leading the way, the Braves would steal 5 bases in the game. And with Deion on third and Pendleton now on first, the stage was set for justice.
It's a base hit and an RBI for David Justice. 3-2 Atlanta.
The Braves added another run to lead now 4-2. But with 1 out in the top of the 8th, Alomar came up, looking for his first World Series hit.
There's a base hit heading for the left field corner for Roberto Alomar. So he has his first hit of the World Series. And once again, the tying run will come to the plate for the Blue Jays with the meat of the order coming up.
Joe Carter then muscled a single into center field. Alomar, who had to hold, only made it to third.
Carter's hit to this day still baffles me. I don't know how he got enough bat, even though it cracked his bat, to get it in there. And then Winfield's ball I thought was a double play, but you know, that's the way the ball bounces and the game goes, and still fortunate enough to come out with a 4th relief.
Carter on his way to third. He is safe, and it's a 1-run ball game. Dave Winfield with his first RBI in the World Series.
With 1 out, that was the end for Smoltz. who left to the cheers of a loving family and legions of appreciative fans. With 2 out and runners on the corners, the Braves turned to Jeff Reardon. His task? Neutralize Kelly Gruber. 6 for 12 lifetime against Reardon.
Strike 3, borderline pitch at best on the inside corner, and Gruber can't believe it.
The Braves had dodged a bullet, and now in the 9th they had Reardon on the mound, a 4-3 lead, and the confidence of some 51,000 fans, anxious to take a 2-0 lead in the series. But with 1 out, the Blue Jays turned to the trenches.
No words were said, it was like everybody just was like this focused, you know, like it was just tunnel vision. You and the pitcher, no voices, you don't hear anything, and that's how it was because I heard nobody's voices, you know, I heard nothing. I was just so focused and so determined just to get on base and help my team out.
Ball 4, and now the tying run is aboard at first base with 1 out in the top of the 9th inning.
Next, a seldom used trencher, about to face his first ever pitch in a World Series.
And now Ed Sprague to bat for the pitcher Ward. He was 1 for 2 in the league championship series against Oakland. Both of his at-bats were as a pinch hitter.
I was just trying to relax. I had an at-bat off Eckersley in the ALCS, and I knew I was a little bit anxious there. I knew I wanted to relax a little bit more, and I looked down, I just wanted to make sure my footing was right in the box, and I usually draw a line from the back of the plate to I don't want to put my foot. I felt comfortable in the box. I stepped in, and I knew the angle he was going to throw the ball from, so I kind of tried to set my eyes at his release point.
Well hit to left field. To the wall, Deion Sanders. Home run, Ed Sprague. Off the bench with a pinch hit 2-run homer off Jeff Reardon to give the Toronto Blue Jays a 5-4 lead.
I was saying to myself, trenches, trenches, trenches. You know, the first thing we said was trenches. And then we got back to the guy, and all the guys were like, trenches, trenches, trenches. How way to go, trench guys.
Stunned along with everyone else, Mrs. Ed Sprague, Kristen Babb, an Olympic gold medalist in synchronized swimming, and one happy wife. The Blue Jays now had a 5-4 lead, but they still had to deal with the bottom of the 9th. For that, they turned to the Terminator, Tom Henke. With 1 out and Mr. and Mrs. Sprague on the watch, Henke had his problems. Still alive, the Braves' hopes and prayers rested with Deion Sanders, who with 2 outs now, proved to be a patient and persistent thorn in Henke's side.
This is a terrific at-bat by Deion Sanders.
Now the 3-2 pitch. Just missed.
And now Terry Pendleton's up there. And remember, he led the National League in hits with runners in scoring position this year. A .387 batting average.
First and second with 2 down for Atlanta in the bottom of the 9th, and Pendleton with a little pop-up. Kelly Gruber in the foul ground. He has it. And the Blue Jays have evened this series at 1 win apiece. Ed Sprague, the unlikely hero tonight.
God, what an incredible thing. You know, he could retire from baseball tomorrow and never have a moment like this again. It's just incredible. I think every little boy dreams about hitting a home run in the World Series to win the game, and God, you know, to actually do it is probably your childhood dream.
The Blue Jays had won their first World Series game. Now it was time for the first ever World Series game in Canada. And Canada was ready.
This is just great for like a great city like Toronto, a great country like Canada.
It's just amazing. It's an amazing feeling.
Terrific. Canada and the Blue Jays.
We're just tickled to be here.
Makes me feel awful proud to be a Canadian.
It's great. It's great.
Very proud to be Canadian. Whether they beat Americans or whoever, as long as they win, we come 3,000 miles to watch history tonight. Skydome, Canada.
After 89 years of World Series, this one required a passport. But first, an unfortunate incident had to be rectified. Before Game 2, the U.S. Marine Corps color guard accidentally carried the flag of Canada upside down. So prior to Game 3, the Marines requested permission to once again present the colors of Canada. In addition, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police carried the flag of the USA. What could have been an uneasy situation was quickly diffused by the graciousness of the Canadian people. Having done the honorable thing, the World Series resumed, with pitching now the focus. Juan Guzman would start Game 3 for Toronto, Steve Avery for the Braves. And through the first 3 innings, both men were in complete control.
Right by him, Juan, right by him. Look out.
Atlanta got to Guzman in the top of the 4th when Sanders led off with his second hit of the game. Then Pendleton, with just 1 hit in the series, but who now showed every sign of busting loose.
Pendleton, base hit. Sanders had to hold up to see if Alomar would catch it. First and second with nobody out for Atlanta as they threaten here in the 4th inning. Terry Pendleton with his second base hit of the World Series.
And that set the stage for a nostalgic reminder of the '54 World Series, with Devon White playing Willie Mays.
First and second with nobody out in the 4th in a scoreless ball game. First pitch to Justice. Well hit to center field. Devon White racing back to the warning track. Great catch up against the wall. And the runners passed each other. Pendleton went by Sanders. He has already been called out. Now they have Sanders in a rundown with a chance for a triple play. Gruber did not get him. Sanders made it back to second. Gruber insisting to Bob Davidson that he made the tag, but the umpire does not agree. And they came within inches of a triple play.
And here's the attempted tag. Kelly Gruber said he got him on the foot, and it looked like he did from that angle.
He did get him on the foot.
What a bizarre play. My goodness.
It all happened so fast. Devon just ran the ball down in midair, caught the ball, went flying up against the fence.
It came easy, pretty much. It looked like it was a lot harder, but to me, I thought, the ball's in the park. I got to make that play.
He made his out, threw the ball into the infield. Pendleton crossed Sanders on the base path. We had 2 outs at that time, and once he figured that he wasn't going to make it after John Olerud delivered the ball perfectly to me, I knew I had to run him down. When I dove, I thought that I'd got his heel, but the umpire didn't see it that way, and unfortunately, we didn't get the triple play.
The Braves never did score that inning. So in the bottom of the 4th, Joe Carter sought to take advantage by putting the baseball where no man could catch it.
Well hit to left, way back. That's the first ever World Series run in Canada.
It was the 9th consecutive postseason game in which the Blue Jays had hit a home run. And this one gave them a 1-0 lead. So it remained as Guzman continued his postseason excellence. But in the top of the 6th, the irrepressible Sanders, who had supplanted Ron Gant in left field, came up looking for his 3rd consecutive hit.
Now Deion Sanders. Well hit down the right field line toward the corner. That's a fair ball and off the wall and a hop. Sanders again hobbling, and he's just in ahead of the throw from the corner by Carter.
Then Pendleton.
Ground ball left side. Lee has to go to third. Safe at third is Sanders. That was Lee's only play. Pendleton was going to beat it to first base. So first and third with one down for Atlanta here in the 6th inning.
Once again, the man on the spot. This time, justice prevails.
Well hit. It nearly hit Pendleton. It goes through into right field to tie the ball game. Sanders in from third. It's 1-1.
Series tied at 1, scored tied at 1. And that's how it stayed until the top of the 8th, when Guzman got burned by the hot corner while facing Otis Nixon.
The payoff pitch. Slapped to third through the glove of Gruber, and Nixon is aboard.
I guess the first thing you'd have to ask yourself is why is Kelly Gruber this shallow with the count 3-2 to Nixon?
I didn't want to give him too much green in between he and I. In case he topped the ball or didn't hit the ball that well, he's got good enough speed to get him to first. But it's a play that I should have made. I get a glove on it. I feel like I should make the play.
Nixon promptly made Toronto pay by stealing second, then moved to third on the second out of the inning. Cito Gaston had to make a decision. He elected to intentionally walk the hot-hitting Justice to face the ice-cold Lonnie Smith, who'd struck out twice in the game already.
Guzman looking in at Smith, who's had his problems tonight, but Bobby Cox calls him stretch drive because he usually delivers in the clutch. And he does again with a base hit into left field. Otis Nixon scores, and the Braves lead. Now the throw to third, and Justice is a dead duck.
Justice had run the Braves out of the inning, but now Toronto had to play comeback. And to lead off the bottom of the 8th, Kelly Gruber, in the throes of a nightmarish 0-for-23 postseason slump, and knowing that his error in the top half of the 8th led to Atlanta's 2-1 lead. What a spotlight for redemption.
Come on, Kelly! Payoff pitch. Well hit down the left field line. Sanders watching it go. Home run, Kelly Gruber. What a way to end the longest drought within a single postseason in history. A game-tying home run. This one is knotted at 2.
In the top of the 9th, Dwayne Ward replaced Guzman and surrendered a leadoff single to Sid Breen. The much quicker Brian Hunter was called on to pinch run. The first step was to get Hunter to second. But once Jeff Blauser ran a 2-2 count, a sequence unfolded that took the Braves out of the inning and their manager out of the game.
Now the runner takes off. It's a check swing. The throw. Got it! They appeal down to first. Double play. It's a strikeout as well. First they got the out at second, and what a big time for Pat Borders to find the range and throwing somebody out. Then they appealed down to first, and Dan Morrison got out the cash register to ring up Jeff Blauser.
And the throw by Borders is perfect, and the tag slapped on Hunter by Manuel Lee, who wants the appeal.
When a helmet came flying out of the Braves dugout to protest the strikeout of Blauser, umpire Joe West identified the culprit as manager Bobby Cox, then ejected him from the game.
I was a little upset over the balls and strikes, to be honest with you. I slammed the helmet down and it went onto the field. And at that point, you know, somebody's got to be responsible for that helmet being out there, and it was me.
With Cox out of the picture, but not the runway, a game of managerial chess began in the bottom of the 9th. With the score still tied at 2 apiece, Robbie Alomar led off for Toronto. Having given the Braves 8 strong innings, Steve Avery was given the chance to pitch the 9th.
Through the middle, a base hit. And the winning run is aboard with nobody out in the bottom of the 9th.
Here's something to consider. He's going to the right-hander, but Alomar is a very fast runner. So you're taking out the left-hander with a better chance to pick the runner off. and bringing in the hard-throwing Wohlers. This is a very interesting situation, and you're liable to see Alomar take advantage of it.
And, as predicted, with Avery out of the ballgame, Alomar took advantage by taking off.
Alomar on the run. Berryhill's throw, not in time. The winning run is in scoring position with nobody out.
And I would imagine, with the count 3 balls and no strikes, that they will walk Joe Carter.
With runners now on first and second and nobody out, the situation cried out for a bunt. But the hitter was Dave Winfield. Would Dave Winfield bunt?
Well, even before the first pitch in that inning, I told Winfield that I wanted to get those 2 guys over if they got on.
Dave Winfield is a good bunter. I remember his San Diego days.
He squares to bunt it. It's a good bunt down to first. Hunter to Lemke for the out. It's a sacrifice 3-4. And now the winning run is 90 feet away with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th.
The scheduled hitter was John Olerud, a left-hander. So Jimmy Williams, the acting manager in place of Cox, elected to replace the right-handed pitcher Mark Wohlers with the left-hander, Mike Stanton. The Blue Jays countered by pinch-hitting the right-hander Ed Sprague for Olerud. But the Braves walked Sprague intentionally. That brought Jimmy back to the mound, and the call went out for the right-hander Jeff Reardon to face the right-hander Candy Maldonado, as expected.
And you could see what was probably going to happen. I think I told Candy before Winfield even bunted the ball that he was going to be the guy.
Obviously, Tim, both managers were thinking through all the likely scenarios, and the Braves understood with their maneuvering that this was what they would wind up with. Jeff Reardon against Candy Maldonado. Undoubtedly, the Braves aware that Maldonado was only 2 for 13 lifetime against Reardon with 7 strikeouts.
We face each other so much. I know that he's got my number. I have to say that. Over the years, he's been tough.
First pitch to Maldonado, swung on and missed for strike 1. Let's go! Hit the ball!
I didn't get nervous. And Cito told me before, just go out there, use your hands. See the ball, use your hands.
Reardon jumps ahead of him quickly, 0-2.
I step off and compose myself. I say, hey, just use your hands. Whatever happens. And just see the ball and stay back. And I figured, after he made me look so bad at the first 2, that he wasn't going to change. And I guess right.
And Maldonado takes an 0-2 pitch to deep center to win the ball game. On an 0-2 pitch, he gave him something that Maldonado could drive, and he drove it, driving in Alomar with the winning run. Toronto takes Game 3, 3-2. Welcome to Canada World Series.
Breaking ball on the outside part, a hanger. Kelly Gruber ending Game 2 with the chop, and now Alomar chops across home plate.
Consecutive heartbreaking, gut-wrenching losses for the Atlanta Braves in the 9th inning.
After I got first 2 curveballs by him, there was no reason to try to throw a fastball when he didn't look good there. And, you can't second-guess yourself. People say, why did he throw another curve? Well, I threw another curve because he looked sick on the first 2.
The eyes of the world turned to Game 4, and Atlanta turned to Glavine, who pitched a 4-hitter to give the Braves their only win in Game 1. Toronto countered with Jimmy Key, who had all but been forgotten in the postseason, having pitched just 3 innings in relief in the playoffs.
Come on, Jimmy!
And against his first batter, Key looked a little rusty.
Nixon has his 2nd hit of the series. His first since the first inning of Game 1. He slapped one into right, and the Braves have the lead man on.
Not a great start.
With the Braves having already stolen 9 bases in the series, Jimmy's key mission was to keep Nixon honest.
That was one of the important things that for me to do, was to keep them from stealing bases. They've been stealing a lot of bases in the series, and I usually have good success in keeping people from stealing bases, so it was utmost in my mind to keep him close and not let him steal a base.
Good move. first is Otis Nixon.
That kind of set the tone for the game to let them know that, you know, if you do get on first, you know, you got me to deal with. You're just not going to be able to run wild.
The lofty ambitions of Toronto fans received still another boost in the bottom of the third, when Pat Borders sought to keep alive his 11-game postseason hitting streak.
Deep to left field, near the pole, and a home run. Pat Borders puts the Blue Jays on the board with a home run off Tom Glavine, just fair down the left field line. It's 1-0 Toronto.
You get into streaks where you see the ball real well, and it just happens to be a right time for me where I'm seeing the ball real well. And most of the series, I've just been trying to hit the ball at the middle and trying to stay back real well. And it was a changeup, and fortunately, I got enough wood on it to get the ball out of the park. I didn't think it was going to stay fair or even get out of the park, so I was just headed for second, trying to squeeze a double out of him, maybe.
Toronto then placed the ball in the good hands of Jimmy Key.
Go quickly in order against Jimmy Key in the fourth. Jimmy Key working on the shutout. It's 1-0 Toronto. Key has retired 15 in a row. Jimmy Key works another 1-2-3 inning. It's stretch time, but they're coming to their feet anyway for Jimmy Key.
On to the bottom of the seventh, where the insurance run Cito was seeking was represented by Gruber on second base. 2 out, and Devon White was looking for his third hit of the game.
So the Blue Jays have still another great chance to score as Glavine delivers to Devon White. Base hit left field. Gruber's being waved in. Gant with the throw to the plate. It is cut off. Throw to second. They have White in a rundown. The Blue Jays lead 2-0, and White is tagged out to end the inning. Gruber scores a big run on the third hit of the night by Devon White.
It proved to be a most important run, for in the top of the eighth, a pair of Atlanta hits and an infield out cut the Toronto lead to 2-1 and knocked Key out of the game. The 9-year Blue Jay had been magnificent, and the fans let him know it.
This will mark the end of the outing for Jimmy Key. The call has already been sent out for Dwayne Ward. Key, a longtime Blue Jay and one of their most popular players, and already they're on their feet for Jimmy Key as he gets ready to depart.
Enter, stage right, Dwayne Ward, the winner of games 2 and 3. With 2 men out, the Braves put 2 runners on, and the question for Cox now was whether or not to pinch hit. He had a right-hander on the mound, and the right-handed Blauser due up. Cox stuck with Blauser, who had been hitting the ball hard the entire series.
That's down the line. Olerud to Anita play it and end the inning. The Braves leave 2 men in scoring position. 2-1 Toronto.
On to the 9th, where the Blue Jays sought to terminate any further uprisings.
Justice with a high fly ball, not very deep. Maldonado is there. The Blue Jays win, and they lead the World Series 3-1.
Toronto was now just 1 win away from becoming the first Canadian team to win the World Series. On the other side, the loneliness of the Braves, with a heartbreaking sense of deja vu.
I guess more than anything else, I was just sitting there thinking that I didn't want to have that bitter feeling that we had last year after everything was said and done. And you know, we're on the verge of that right now. So you know, it's going to be tough to swallow to come this far 2 years in a row and not have anything to show for it. So hopefully we can turn things around here in the next 3 days.
Well, to avoid that fate, they'd have to get by Jack Morris, their arch rival from '91. Although daunting, it wasn't impossible to come back from a 3-1 deficit. As a member of the '85 Cardinals, Pendleton had seen such a lead evaporate and reminded his teammates before Game 5.
I just wanted to let them know that, hey, I've been up 3-1 before and come home empty-handed, so believe me, it can definitely happen, and whether they believed in that or not, they went out on the field and did the job that was necessary to win.
Otis Nixon leads off. He's 3 for 16 in the World Series. Jack Morris with the first pitch of Game 5, slapped by Gruber in third. He was right on top of the line and still couldn't get it. And Otis Nixon leads off with a double on the first pitch of the game.
After Nixon stole third, Pendleton had the chance to back up his inspirational message, and in the process, avoid an ignominious record.
No series has ever had the combination 3, 4, and 5 hitters without an extra base hit.
I've been getting myself out more so than they get me out. Don't get me wrong, they've got great pitching over there, but I've said this time and time again, when I swing at strikes, I'm going to hit.
Bounce down the line, fair ball, and the Braves take a 1-0 lead. Pendleton on his way to second, and he is there safely with the second double of the inning.
And that erases that little note, doesn't it?
The Blue Jays came back to tie the score at 1. Then, in the top of the 4th, it was time for Atlanta's number 4 hitter to get his first extra base hit. And Justice left no doubt that this was not Jack Morris, vintage 1991.
That's deep to right, nearly into the second deck for David Justice. His first home run of the World Series, and Atlanta is back on top 2-1.
But once again, the Blue Jays were quick to respond. Smoltz was pitching with just 3 days rest and ran into trouble in the bottom of the 4th.
The Braves lead 2-1. Toronto with runners at first and second and 1 out. In the 4th inning for Pat Borders, who drove in the Blue Jay run in the second with a double off the wall and left. He is now hit safely in all 11 of his games in the postseason this year.
Let's go, Blue Jays, let's go!
Through the middle, base hit. Olerud does not run very well. He's being waved in. Nixon's throw offline. 2-2 the score. And Pat Borders takes another step toward possible MVP honors.
But last year's most valuable player was struggling. Morris got the first 2 batters out in the top of the 5th before giving up still another hit to Nixon. Otis promptly stole second, and that brought Sanders back to the plate.
Sanders to center, a hit. Charged by White. Nixon to the plate. White's throw is cut off, and the Braves reclaim the lead for the 3rd time tonight, 3-2. Sanders is not running on the first pitch. That's a fair ball. Just like his double in the 1st inning. It's touched by a fan, and Sanders will be sent back to 3rd.
Pendleton's ground rule double put runners on 2nd and 3rd with 2 men out. Justice was then walked intentionally, as he was in Game 3, to face a none too pleased Lonnie Smith.
During that particular moment, I got a little nervous as well as angered, because I knew it was a move that was a good judgment move on their part, but insulting in my part. You know, I felt, well, they think that I'm an easy out.
Lonnie Smith is nearly a 300 lifetime hitter with the bases loaded. That includes 3 grand slams.
Jack's a very tough pitcher to hit, and I saw the first pitch, I jumped on it, fouled it off, and I knew that this situation was going to be even tougher than I expected. A few more pitches were made, and then I got the fastball that I was hoping to get, and it was up more than I expected. I hit it, I went with it, and I was fortunate enough that it went out.
Carter to the wall. Grand slam, Lonnie Smith.
With a 7-2 lead and victory in Game 5 all but assured, the only question remaining was whether Morris was left in the game too long.
You can't get away from someone saying, well, you should have done this, you should have done that. The thing that I was trying to do there, hoping, and along with thinking about not so much as if we have to play another ball game, is I don't want David Cone to go out there and say, if I'm not pitching well in the 5th inning, Cito's coming to get me.
Atlanta went on to win the game 7-2. With their backs to the wall, the Braves had prevailed. The series would return to Atlanta for Game 6. And back in Atlanta, it was Lonnie Smith the fans wanted to see. For Lonnie, what a difference a year made. It was, of course, a must-win situation for Atlanta. And to pitch Game 6, they turned to Steve Avery. Toronto countered with Cone, hoping to make up for a lackluster outing in Game 2. Both teams scored an early run, and Game 6 was off and running.
Maldonado with a high fly ball to deep left field. Sanders back to the warning track, to the wall. It's a home run. Just the second hit of the World Series for Candy Maldonado, but both have been big. 2-1 Blue Jays. The runner at second is Pat Borders. At first, David Cone.
Oh, Steve, put it in there.
The 1-0 line to left to hit. Sanders plays it. Borders being waved in. The throw to the plate, and he is out at home. Great play by Alomar. One hop throw, gloved by Carter for the out. Oh, man. 2 men in scoring position. The tying run at third. The go-ahead run at second. Third baseman Jerry on the 3-2 pitch. He struck him out. Foul tipped into the mid of Borders for the final out of the inning. Nixon at first. He is running. Gant took a ball. Borders throw. Got him. Sinking fast. Winfield. Did he catch it? Yes, he did. Bounced up the middle. Blauser throws him out. The Blue Jays have left 11. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Blauser, Berryhill, and Lemke do. The Blue Jays 3 outs away from the World Championship.
Trailing 2-1, the Braves would need to summon another miracle, like the one they managed to pull off in Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. Would 2 postseason miracles be asking too much? The matter was in Henke's hands. Jeff Blauser had the unenviable task of leading off against a bullpen that hadn't blown a save in 77 straight games.
Tying run is aboard with nobody out in the bottom of the ninth. Jeff Blauser 2 for 4 tonight.
Damon Berryhill with no sacrifices all year, and he'll be sacrificing here, at least trying to.
That's a good bunt. Henke has to go to first. It's a sacrifice for the first out of the bottom of the ninth. Now the tying run is in scoring position. A tremendous roar as Smith is introduced. He was the hero of Game 5.
No! You could cut the tension with a tomahawk. As Lonnie fell behind, no balls, 2 strikes.
Lonnie Smith has worked the count from 0-2 to 3-2.
Talk about a gutty at-bat by Lonnie Smith.
The 8th pitch of the at-bat is ball 4. So the winning run is at first. And the man who produced the miracle 10 days ago will step into the spotlight again, Francisco Cabrera.
Let's go, Francisco!
To left field. Maldonado made the catch. He started in and then it almost went over his head. Cabrera had a rising line drive. Maldonado came in, then had to leap at the last moment to snare it. Otis Nixon, the batter. 2 outs, bottom of the ninth. Runners at first and second. The Blue Jays lead 2-1. Swing and a miss by Nixon for strike one. He's 1 for 4 tonight. He singled his last time up. Strike two. The Blue Jays 1 strike away from the World Championship. The 0-2 pitch. Slap to the left side, a hit. Bowser's being waved in. Maldonado's throw is over everything. It's a tie ball game. Now the winning run is at third for Atlanta. In the bottom of the ninth as the Braves try to force a Game 7 tomorrow night. Henke with the payoff pitch to Gant. Fly ball, left center. Devon White is there to make the catch. 1 run for the Braves in the ninth. 2-2 the score as we head for the 10th inning.
The 10th proved uneventful. On to the 11th. And just like the 11th inning of Game 6 in the 1991 World Series, Charlie Lee Brandt was on the mound for Atlanta. With 1 out, he hit Devon White. The go-ahead run was on first.
Alomar 2 for 5. The Blue Jays have had a hit in every inning tonight except this, the 11th. To the plate and lined into center field, a hit. White to second, and he'll stop there. Roberto Alomar with 3 hits tonight. First and second and 1 out for Toronto in the 11th.
I don't think there is any way that Bobby Cox is going to allow Lee Brandt to face Joe Carter. Jeff Reardon is warm in the bullpen. Tough decision right here.
Joe Carter will face Lee Brandt. Carter lifts one to center, not deep. Nixon makes the catch for the second out. We're in the 11th, 2-2 the score. Dave Winfield has only driven in 1 run in this series as he tries to erase the painful memories of his only previous World Series experience in 1981. All the bad memories would go away with a hit right here. 2-2 the score with 2 men on, 2 outs in the 11th inning of Game 6 of the World Series. The runners go on the 3-2 to Winfield. Down the line, a base hit into the left field corner. White has scored. Alomar comes around. The ball gets away from Gant. It's a 2-run double for Dave Winfield. And a 4-2 Toronto lead.
This is the first extra base hit of the World Series ever for Dave Winfield. Boy, did he save the right time to get it. Toronto up by 2.
Still another miracle was all Atlanta could hope for. For with the biggest hit of his career, Winfield had shed the ghost of World Series past and given Toronto the lead. But Game 4 winner Jimmy Key was on to close the door on any such miracles.
In the bottom of the 11th, the Braves will need to dig into their bag of tricks again. They scored a run in the bottom of the ninth to force extra innings. They'll need 2 to keep it alive in the bottom of the 11th. Jimmy Key facing Jeff Blauser. Line to left. Here we go again. That'll bring the tying run to the plate. Up the middle. Bad hop and Griffin couldn't glove it. Blauser continues to third. He'll get there without a throw. Had he fielded it, it was a perfect double play ball with Berryhill running, but it bounced up at the last moment. Now the tying run is aboard at first base. John Smoltz running for Damon Berryhill with nobody out.
would imagine, will still be bunting because only the runner at first matters.
He squares to bunt again. This time it's in play. The runner holds at third. Key to Alomar covering for the first out. But now the tying run is in scoring position. Blauser still at third. Smoltz has moved up to second. And Borders out to the mound to discuss the strategy with Hunter, who's dangerous, particularly against left-handed pitching. Hunter averaged a home run every 13 times up against left-handed pitching in the regular season. Off the end of the bat, down to first. Carter makes the play for the second out. A run scores. It's 4-3 Toronto, but the Braves are again down to their final out. And again, it will be Otis Nixon.
And Cito Gaston wants to talk to Jimmy Key. It is doubtful that he will take him out of the game. I think he wants to remind the corners that Nixon will bunt. Well, he's going to go to the right-hander.
Mike Timlin will be the new pitcher for Toronto.
And what pressure on this young man just to get one out. Otis Nixon, as a left-handed batter, gets down to first a lot quicker than he does from the right side. He's a better bunter as a left-handed batter.
Mike Timlin saved only one game this year. He has only 4 major league saves. Now he's on to save the biggest win in Toronto Blue Jay history. With a tying run at third and 2 down in the bottom of the 11th. 4-3 Blue Jays. Timlin. Nixon bunts. Timlin on it. Throws to first. For the first time in history, the World Championship banner will fly north of the border. The Toronto Blue Jays are baseball's best in 1992.
That's my save. No World Series save. All right, man. Hey, where the bounce on that mound, man? Where the bounce on that man? Hey, baby. You told me. Better take your time. Niggas gotta do that. You gotta get in here and take it.
Joe said just before he went back over to first base, hey, he might bunt, so be careful.
He laid it down and Timmy made a great play, and hey, the rest is history.
I'm telling you, the oldest man in the room, the guy who took the longest to get a World Series championship, but there's not a person that's happier than me.
A trophy for champions, an honor for a nation. For the Blue Jays, the chance of a lifetime.
Sometimes the heart can lead you where few have ever been, can take you to the limit, time and time again. Something moves the spirit, like something moves the wind. I felt it and I followed, now the road's about to end. This is the chance of a lifetime, can't let it slip away. This is the